Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Beyond the Summit ESP Shock Therapy Cup. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Shocking.
Apparently
we're listening to the stream
We're
as well.
listening to the stream somewhere.
That's really
Maybe it's
insane.
Shock Radio. Yep, that was it. All right, well, already off to a good start with these live production issues.
Jesus, dude, get your shit together.
Sayori behind the wheel again, starting off on the wrong foot. LD, how are you this morning?
I was good until you fucked up. You done fucked up.
Was this close?
I'm excited. I think today's the more stacked side of the group. Day one, we had E-Hug, a little bit of a less established team. Sad Boys, not less established, but a bit newer. But in the bottom half of the group, we have some really accomplished teams. Sigma, Fnatic, the two teams that have gotten the most done on LAN. Obviously, Team Liquid, they were kind of the darlings of the post-TI3 era for a short while after they made their roster changes. They had a Koikfa. They were looking a lot stronger. And they've struggled a little bit recently. But the other teams in this group, Empire, we've seen them kind of bouncing back a bit lately. And, of course, Fnatic. Forever second place until the last Star Ladder, where they broke the... You know, the funny thing was at the end of Star Ladder, Notel and Trixie were just running around. You know, everyone had been drinking. The streak is broken! The streak is broken! They're not second place anymore, but...
That's good.
It's one way to break a streak.
Yeah, Empire is going to be an interesting team. We've seen them in Star Ladder quite a bit, but their performance in this season ladder was a little bit lackluster. They're like a mega lineup, but it hasn't always transitioned into wins, even though they've been playing consistently well. So it's a little scary in this tournament. It is best of one to start off the first round again today. So as always, anything can happen, and Sigma is one of the scariest best of one teams out there.
And if you lose that first match, you play another best of one in the losers bracket. So good news today is that we only have one North American team, so the European teams will be happy anyway. I guess yesterday, rox.kis, you could say they got the shaft. They got USE server for both games.
Yeah. Bad dice roll.
I think they got outplayed anyway, but server is always a factor. Today won't be as much of one except for Liquid, who we may have some issues with. But that's the life when you have North America versus Europe. Yeah.
So game one today, Empire versus Sigma. We have the draft up, but unfortunately we're going to have a remake as we're still waiting on Miggle to get connected. I guess he's stuck in transit somewhere. But our draft is underway. Is it time to hop in, LD?
Don't ask me.
All right.
Of course it's time. Let's
you know what? It's time to hop in. Let's get into the game.
Yeah. Hooah! Hooah! So there will be an AP remake, like you mentioned.
Yes.
After we go through the draft.
So Empire did have the luxury of first pick and to grab themselves the Venomancer, and Sigma International with Visage Enchantress. Now, Statsman K-Poptosis, not doing stats with us today, but he still kept us on the pulse of what's happening with these teams.
He's so gung-ho. He's like...
He's so eager.
Like, I want to do something anyway, so...
Guys, I know you didn't ask for this, but I made this beautiful bullet point list with this picture I made in Photoshop of our TZ shocking folks. Shock therapy.
At some point we have to show everyone, because I think that's pretty cute.
So, anyhow, Sigma's a team. We know how much they love their Bane. And, of course, Team Empire are going to take that opportunity to first ban Bane in this first match. Bane is either picked or banned in 87% of Sigma matches since 6.79. In the average match, that number is about 29%.
They know how to use Bane. Just don't give them Bane. And as we look at the ways Empire's banning against them, this is exactly how teams were banning against Sigma at Star Ladder. Ban Invoker, ban Bane, force them out of their comfort zone, and until they prove that they can beat this this kind of draft, teams are going to keep on doing it. So we'll have to see. That being said, they still perform very well at Star Ladder. They took a game off of... or they almost took that game off of Na'Vi, rather. It went really late. Felt like they had it in the bag in the losers bracket, best of 3, and then fell short. But Sigma, a very strong team. They don't have quite the star power of like Na'Vi Alliance, but they definitely have the individual skill, and they have the creative drafts at times. So it's 6.80. It's a new day. This team was known for some unconventional drafting, and I'm curious to see what they do. So far, it looks very standard, though. Visage Enchantress.
Yeah, and I know another hero that Sigma likes to mix in on occasion is that Tramp Protector. There's a handful of teams that really value the tree, and they are one such team. I don't know that this is going to be a game where we'll see them, given they have kind of their double supports picked up with their first couple of picks. But a hero to keep on that back burner when you're looking at the Sigma draft. I know it's one they're not afraid to pull out. I talked to Matt on a fairly consistent basis, and he is a He is one interesting guy. He's one of those players that's so eager to share his strategies and insight into what they're doing.
I was going to say it's not hard to get him talking.
Yeah, he loves to talk about his strategies and heroes he likes. And
you can just sit down next to him at like an event, and if he's not busy, you just say one thing, and he'll go off, and you'll get a lecture. Usually an interesting one. Yeah, they liked Tree a lot when they were running OD mid for Fata, but we haven't seen much OD lately.
Yeah.
And if they're not running OD, I don't think we're going to see Tree either.
And speaking of Fata, Puck going to be third banned by Empire. Another one of the classic Fata heroes that he can do some serious damage with. One of those scary player-hero combos. But both teams actually taking their time with these third and fourth bans, being very cautious. I know Sigma has a reputation for being one of the more scary teams in a best-of-1 because of their more unconventional drafting style. And, you know, if you get caught off guard in a best-of-1, you don't have that. All right, guys, wipe it off. Let's go into Game 2 fresh and bright. Obviously, that's not an option.
Yeah, and Sigma, they start this draft off with Visage Enchantress, so they get 2 supports in Phase 1, which means you're either banning cores, either mid or possibly off-lane heroes, I would imagine. So they remove the Puck for Fata, but Fata's a very versatile solo mid. We've seen a lot of his Dragon Knight, and I think Dragon Knight's a big hero to keep an eye on in this draft. Dragon Knight, Visage, Enchantress. He actually is one of the few DK solo mid players who rushes mech, and if they want to push hard and push early, DK mid rushing a mech, Enchantress Visage, they could run a safe lane Pugna, and that would be a really strong pushing lineup. But Empire, they've done their homework here, and they do ban the DK.
Yeah, banning mostly mid-heroes here, really trying to keep Fata in check. And Invoker, Puck, Dragon Knight, those are sort of the 3 core heroes when I think of Fata. What's left for Fata heroes here in this draft?
He can pretty much play anything. I think the question is... oh, excuse me. What's going to suit their style particularly?
LD's choking on his water here, so...
Apparently drinking water is pretty difficult. But, yeah, like, what kind of draft do they want to run? The OD is still out there. He's played solo mid Slark. They can also run this offlane for Miguel, so it's up in the air who's going to play it. But I'm feeling like it will probably be Fata's hero.
All right, interesting. Yes.
Still trying really hard not to cough.
Yeah.
We actually have cough boxes, which reminds me I need to set them up here. So when someone has a conniption, they can just mute themselves. Sorry, guys.
Button, yeah.
Hope I didn't rupture your eardrums.
So Slark's an interesting hero right now. Some teams still like him in that offlane, and other teams, I mean, I guess some teams are still running him in the 1 position, and then on occasion, Sigma, one of the few teams that likes to run him mid.
Fnatic likes him as a safe lane carry for Era. It did not work at all for them at Starladder.
Where do you like Slark? What's your ideal role for that guy?
I think generally mid is his best role. He's a snowball hero. He's an okay offlaner, but he needs more farm than other offlaners, like Clockwork being probably the quintessential example in this patch. If Slark gets shut down early, he doesn't have great... He doesn't offer you like the same utility and crowd control that other offlaners do. Even Timbersaw offers you just a lot more like AoE teamfight, burst damage, with fairly basic farm. And Slark isn't particularly naturally tanky. He's not a great team fighter. So I generally like him solo mid. If he gets a 1v1, he's a great side lane solo as well. And safe lane can work, but it really depends on the rest of the draft. Like, he's not a hero that you can just throw into the safe lane any game and expect to walk away with a win.
Right. I think safe lane, like position 1 Slark, is my least favorite of the Slark positions. There are just so many heroes better suited for that hard farming role, and if you allocate all that farm, I feel like Slark, there's almost a timer where you have to make plays if you give him all that farm, where eventually he starts to fall off compared to a traditional hard carry. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, an interesting third pick here for Empire, the Ancient Apparition.
Yeah, I was looking at the 6.80 patch notes. I'm going to have to keep these open for the next few weeks until they all stick in my head. But Ice Vortex got buffed a lot. The spell damage amplification is stronger by 5% at all levels. The duration lasts a bit longer. Ice Vortex is that one that just affects a small AoE where you take extra damage if you're in it. Generally, we were seeing teams go away from that and take the Frost Touch or whatever, the one that gives your teammates more
Chilling
damage.
Touch. Yeah.
Chilling Touch. So I guess Ice Frog trying to give people multiple ways to skill the hero. We'll have to see if that makes a big difference, but Ancient Apparition, a very good counter-pushing hero, and when you see Visage Enchantress, you see a lineup that can 5-man pretty early and take towers, so Ancient Apparition is very good at stopping that push.
Yeah. And if he can farm up an Ag Scepter, we've seen that. I think I might have seen it once in the last season of Star Ladder. It can be pretty scary with that ultimate. It really does a lot of damage if farm allows, but of course that takes some while for Ancient Apparition to get up there. Now Sigma are going to go ahead and fourth pick their carry. That will be the Gyrocopter. And Empire are going to go ahead and pick up what I'm assuming is their mid, though it wouldn't be the most insane thing to see a position 1 Storm Spirit. But Storm Spirit going to be their fourth choice here.
Yeah, Storm does well versus pretty much all melees mid, and he should do fine against Slark mid. The main area where Storm will struggle is not in the 1v1, it's if he gets ganked. So either they're going to need to park the Veno, maybe the AA mid, or they'll have to know where the supports of Sigma are, because once the Visage and Enchantress are off the map, this Storm can easily be food if he gets caught out, if he goes mid. But we'll see how they want to run it. I just want to make a quick mechanics note here. Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast does not get removed by Dark Pact, so he is most debuffs do get removed, but this makes him a very strong hero. I think more he was picked up here to stop the push, but he is situationally very strong against Slark. You can't regen through your passive ultimate, the Shadow Dance.
Interesting.
Yeah, even if you Dark Pact, it doesn't remove it.
Wow. Well, there are a couple heroes out there that counter the quote-unquote uncounterable Slark.
The Fishman. I call him the Fishman.
The Fishman. I call him the wannabe Murloc more so than anything else. But
yeah, that was his Dota 1 hero model.
Yeah.
Another like Ice Frog was running in Dota 1. There's this period where Ice Frog was like clearly running out of models from Warcraft 3 to use, and it's just like really scraping the bottom of the barrel. And the Murloc was down there.
So Mirana going to be the final pick for Sigma. That's one of those heroes that they like to run in tandem with the Bane. The setup between those two is pretty obvious. Obviously, no Bane here, and not a lot of hard crowd controls to pair with that Mirana. So it seems that they're just feeling confident with, I guess this is going to be off-lane Priestess of the Moon.
Yeah, looks like it. It could be solo mid Priestess of the Moon and off-lane Slark. That's the other option. But we expect Sakshika on Gyro, and I mention this because Sakshika's Gyro was amazing at Star Ladder up until that point where Sigma kind of collapsed against Na'Vi. But his farm was off the charts. His movement around the map was superb, constantly joining fights at the right time. And it was the first match in that tournament where he had done it. Before that, he had kind of just been an AFK farmland and not on hard carries. But we're going to have an AP remake here because we don't have all 10 players. But I'm really excited to see if Sakshika can keep on just finding the right times to join fights, because that was, to me, like the biggest key to Sigma's success in that game.
Yeah. So Doom is the final pick for Team Empire. It looks like that will be a position 1 Doom. Silent was the one to pick him up, though, of course. As you mentioned, we're going to be remaking, so shouldn't read too much into that. And here we'll cut back to just our regular screen here for a moment. Do we want to go camera, or do we want to wait? What's our expected ETA?
Yeah, normally you go back to the camera.
Okay. There we go.
But yeah, welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
What was I gonna say? Oh, jeez, I forgot. Oh yeah, I do want to also mention there's a. I don't know if you want to call it a bug, but you know how they changed the way that all pick works.
You want to let me sit in the channel first, pal?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We're at 75 seconds now instead of 90.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In Captain's mode, there's 90 seconds before the creep spawn. In all pick right now, in the new version, there's only 75. So, for AP remakes, it kind of like changes the game a little bit. If you maybe were doing a level 1 strat, so something to keep in mind.
Is that a total bug in this patch, or is that the way it's been?
They just changed how all pick works. So it used to be 90 seconds.
Okay.
But before creep spawn, but now it's only 75.
That's interesting.
So we'll have to see if someone drafts like a clear level 1 Roche lineup and teams want a remake, then. You know, we may see some, some issues there. But
the more you know, huh?
Yeah. So just waiting on Mag to join the lobby slot. But whose draft do you like better after seeing the final pick there?
I'm not a fan of position 1 Doom. That's my biggest problem with the draft. I thought it was pretty even until Empire grabbed that Doom. And position 1 Doom can work, but it's sort of like the position 1 Slark in my book, where you need to make plays happen. I think Doom is a harder carry than Slark, so he can play that AFK farming role a little bit better, and then once you get the pack leader's aura, the crit, you really operate more like a hard carry, but I feel like I've seen that strategy backfire more often than not.
I will say they have a really good lineup to shut down Slark. They have Doom,
true.
And they have the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast. We're just waiting on Mag to join the slot here.
So I think both sides have a little bit of a more snowball-oriented lineup, so it's going to come down more so to execution and who picks up those early kills. And if Slark gets a lot of momentum, I think he's going to be a real irritant And if they shut him down early, then, you know, Slark without a lot of farm and without a lot of levels really isn't so scary.
Their draft is fairly greedy. Slark, Mirana, Gyro, 3 cores that need a lot of farm.
Yeah.
They can all get. I will say all 3 of them can fight pretty well, but they're not. They're a little bit light on crowd control. Like a lot of it comes down to the Visage this game, and if he has a slow start, then how many like true reliable disables do they have? They have Arrow, Call Down,
Arrow, Pounce with the leash that barely even counts because you're not even stunned. You're just stuck standing there. Yeah, it's weird to see them pick the Mirana without any kind of setup. That is one of the classics of the Sigma drafting.
They just love that hero, though,
yeah.
dude. Like they will
really
pick
do.
it no matter what.
They really do.
And she is strong for things beside the Arrow. Mainly Moonlight Shadow, but the Leap also gives you your entire team a decent attack speed and move speed buff, which a lot of people don't realize that it actually gives your teammates attack speed.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and the Starstorm does a pretty good bit of damage. Sometimes you get lucky with that RNG of that extra star.
When it's maxed, if you hit both, I believe it's like 550-ish before reduction. That's a lot of damage for a non-ultimate nuke.
Yeah, good bit of burst damage.
Sometimes unreliable, though.
Yeah. One of the things that Sigma sort of has historically done well is just draft really powerful lanes. There's been a lot of times where I've looked at their draft and like, I don't really see the team fight. Yeah. I don't really see the synergy here, but the synergy is just all around dominating every single lane. If they can win all 3 lanes, they take that momentum, knock down some early towers, take that momentum, try and knock down some tier 2 towers, and then before you know it, they've got this sort of what seems like kind of an odd draft at face value, just steamrolling folks because, well, they've taken that early edge. That's sort of the Sigma way about it.
Yeah, Sigma really relies on the laning stage, it seems, more than most teams. Generally, when they win, they get ahead early. You look at other teams, I think, like, to me, the best examples would probably be Alliance and DK. These are teams that, well, especially Alliance, where often they may lose the laning stage, but it's either designed with the draft or, in some cases, they're just really poised when they're behind. Sigma's not bad when they're behind, but it's not really their strength.
Right, certainly. Certainly not like Na'Vi, who almost seem to thrive when they're behind. Then they have that added pressure of, all right, we dropped the first game in this best of 3. The pressure's on. Elimination is among us. That's when they really step up their game. And I think you're spot on that Sigma is almost on the flip side of that.
They're a very momentum-based team. Fucky Mad did an article for, I guess he's writing for Mali's website, 2p.com.
2p, yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking about this even before he wrote that article, that he believes a lot in just kind of tempo and momentum, which obviously can be good. It's a double-edged sword, right? If you're snowballing, then, you know, being a very momentum-based team is awesome. But if you're behind and you're losing,
it's not so good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, guys, we don't have momentum. Shit.
What do we do?
So we did have an AP remake. We were waiting on Mag to join the 10th slot, and he's finally done it.
Yeah, so we're going to AP pick it up, and then we should be ready to get started in this game. So excited to see Ancient Apparition, though. I like that we have a little bit of variety in heroes, and we'll see how he works out. When we saw him picked up, I thought, is this a chance at a Faceless Void pick? We were talking about Lich AA, how they synergize with Void. Wishful thinking,
Those
perhaps.
2 are very passive supports, though.
Yeah.
That's the main issue with going that draft.
Yeah. And also, Void does counter Slark a little bit. His ultimate is revealed inside of the Chronosphere.
Even when...
Yep, even when he's in Dark Pack,
are you sure
Chronosphere...
with the new one? I don't know. No, I don't think with the new one.
It was in 6.79. I can't say 100% in 6.8. But Chronosphere reveals all, and it's epic.
It reveals Invis units, but Slark is unrevealable Invis with his new ult.
Right.
I believe. So I don't think
Void is the one trump card. I tested it. I saw it.
In like last patch?
In 6.79, yeah. Since Slark was added into Captain's Mode with that.
I learned something new then, if that's true.
I saw somebody do it in a pub game, I think. I've seen it happen, and Slark gets revealed.
But there's a bug report on the forum.
It might not be working as intended, and it may have been fixed, but there was a time when Chronosphere did reveal the Slark.
I don't think he's supposed to be revealed, because nothing's supposed to reveal him. But it sounds like, I'll just look at the forums quickly, it sounds like at least there was a bug.
It was working the way. Okay, I hadn't realized it was
no Void in this game.
Yeah, no Void, so again, we seem to seems to be a recurring theme here. Talking about the Void. So, all right. We're back in the draft here, guys, and this is game 1 of the day. Again, a best-of-1 match between Empire and Sigma. That not a strange format, it's just a double elimination bracket, but the way we've been covering it is a little bit strange. Best-of-1 coming up after this, and then the winners will play off in a best-of-3. So no one going home after this match here, but
might have a level 1 clash.
Yeah. Ward gonna come down. Fucking Mag gonna be in the front lines, but he's gonna about face just in time. And Empire.
And they're going to
move on
deward this
back.
easily.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get caught right now. Oh my god. He just saw them too.
Oh, Mad getting too greedy here. He thought they were treated. Gale going to make it an easy first blood. Ancient Apparition going to grab that bonus gold.
He saw them too. That was just overzealous.
Yeah.
Just needed to wait.
Yep.
And that's an unfortunate first blood, though. Well, one thing they do know is that there's an Observer Ward here. But they actually don't have any sentries, which is quite unusual nowadays. Especially when you're running any sort of jungler. You normally want to have sentries, or at least save gold for them, so you can deward your jungle. So
yeah,
he's not actually camp blocked for any of the important camps, but they're going to see whatever he's doing in his woods.
Right, and they do actually have 2 smokes to get things started, so it looks like Sigma are going to be off to an aggressive start and try and get some ganks going early. And these lanes not going to unfold quite the way we predicted. It is going to be Fada solo mid on the Mirana up against the Storm Spirit here, and that means up top it's going to be Sachka playing on the Gyrocopter. He'll be supported by Visage and Enchantress in the jungle, so it will be that off-lane Slark.
Yeah, Miguel Slark, this guy pioneered Slark play for Dota 2 back in the International 3 Western qualifiers. But on the Radiant side, we've got Team Empire, and they have been on a bit of a roll lately, Zyori. We have Resolution playing the Storm Spirit mid, and the off-lane Mag on the Clockwork that puts Always Want to Fly into the Ancient Apparition. Silent onto the Doom, and Vankscore on the Venomancer.
Yep, and Always Want to Fly. Going to start off in the jungle here while they
mid
keep
lane.
some lane presence. And already a dive onto Resolution. And it looks like he'll be able to survive. Mag going to rotate in. Actually missed what creep he had.
He had an Ursa, and it just went down.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, and he already used the smoke as well, so he's now when he goes to gank, they're going to know exactly where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And does have gold for sentries, but at this point might just say, you know what, screw it, and go straight. Top lane looks like Mag's going to get caught out here, and it will be not our first blood, but our first blood after the creep spawn, I guess.
First kill for Sigma here. Sachka going to be able to put one on the scoreboard, and that's the power of the laning Gyrocopter. We think of him as a hard carry, but if he catches someone solo like a Clockwork, he can really lay into him. One of the heroes that works well against Bristleback in that off lane as well, as just a little aside.
Indeed, indeed. So 2-minute rune is going to spawn top. It's a haste, and Pass, he's smoked up now, and he finds it. This is going to be a kill.
Yeah, Resolution in big trouble here. He's going to get slowed by the Visage. Fada going to chuck the arrow, going to be a little bit off the mark. And Resolution, I don't think he's going to get out scot-free here. Visage going to be able to chase him down, and that will be an easy kill. And Pass going to add another one to the board here for Sigma International.
So looking at the team's trades right now, Storm not having a good time. He dodges the first gank. He goes down here, and they can continue to put pressure on him. This is the downside to running the Storm solo mid. Of course, like I was talking about earlier in the draft, is very gankable, very easy to shut down through ganks before he hits 6. And I'd like to see them keep the pressure up. They can even just go for another kill on him now, as they are smoked up. But maybe they just head bottom.
Yeah, it looks like they do want to make a rotation down bottom. We've got a Dark Troll Summoner here for the net, as well as a Centaur Conqueror, so plenty of crowd control able creeps. They might be able to set up some kills on the Always Want to Fly and Vankscore. Looks like they are going to converge in, and nowhere for him to go in this little corridor here. Slark going to be in the front lines. Ancient Apparition going to be the target of choice. It looks like he is going to be the first to fall. Vankscore not out of the clear quite yet. Slark forced to retreat, compliments of that poison. Now Silent going to join the fray. And he's actually just going to take a lot of right clicks and about face straight away. Not going to be able to grab a second kill, but Sigma going to come out the victors in that exchange.
Yeah, Slark is only level 2, so he didn't have a point in Dark Pact. Actually going to opt to skip it. Normally you do max leap first in the off lane. Sometimes you see players just take 1 point in Dark Pact along the way and even skip Essence Shift if you're up against the tri-lane. But for the time being, he dodges the bullet. He will live. And so far, Sigma, really good early movement. And Enchantress, very strong in this version, was very strong in the last one. And seems like nothing much has changed there. So we'll see if they keep the pressure up. But in terms of farm, Doom's farming well. Storm's still CSing decently despite the pressure, and he's an okay comeback hero, although mid lane could be in trouble.
Fada going to hop forward, going to connect with the arrow. That's going to be a solo kill under Resolution. Well played by Fada right there. We were talking about the burst damage that Mirana can put out, and that's a perfect example of how bursty Mirana truly can be.
Yeah, a lot of that's really the mark of a fantastic Mirana player, though. Most players will just kind of try to shoot the arrow from long range. He just jumps on top of you, gets the double starfall, and then arrows for the kill. And it's a lot harder to miss arrow when you're really close. And in that case, he only needed the damage, not really the stun duration. So well played.
Yeah, Sigma off to a great start here. As you were mentioning, anytime you can kill a Storm before level 6, that's good news. And they've now killed him twice. He's about halfway. through level 5 at the moment, so I don't know they'll be able to kill him again, but they've already slowed down a lot of that momentum. Is this going to be a game where you think Storm might be forced to grab a BKB first, or will he have that luxury of going an Orchid first?
BKB is decent. It's going to depend more on how the game develops from here, as fucking Mad is going to take a lot of damage. Should be okay. If he continues to struggle, then generally you'll just have to go BKB. It's like the I'm screwed item, but if he's doing well, it's also an option.
Mad going to be in big trouble. Vanscore going to connect with a Gale, and Always Wanna Fly going to come around the backside. They'll converge on the Enchantress, and she's going to take a spill. Yeah,
keeping her out of the jungle is really important. That's a big kill. If she wants to come back in now, they have an Observer Ward, so either she smokes or she just heads to another lane, and we're going to see a Doom Midas. Really greedy item from Silent, and he's also maxing Devour first, which is pretty common for safe lane Doom, but good against Enchantress as well. As you see, it just eats 2 big creeps, already level 6.
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much the fastest Midas you can get on Doom here. He had it right around that 5-minute mark, and that is a pretty speedy timing, especially since that recipe did go up in cost a couple of patches ago, and he's off to a good start here. But as you mentioned, very greedy, and it's going to have this make this opening for Sigma in the next 5-10 minutes or so, where they might be able to punish that greedy build a little bit.
Yeah, he can go on mid, though, as Visage will go, but mid lane, this is the big kill. They're going on the Mirana again.
And Mirana going to be in big trouble. The Doom ulti comes out, and I think Fada going to be slated to fall. Down he goes as Resolution zips forward for that last bit of damage. I did actually miss the Ancient Apparition kill down bottom, but looked like just a Slark Visage combo on poor AA. Pretty easy kill.
Yeah, the Enchantress went down earlier, and then the Visage killed off the Ancient Apparition a bit later on. So your Storm now, he hits level 7 after that. That's a big kill, because Storm was getting crushed mid, and getting the experience on a mid laner who's snowballing like that Mirana, that's a huge turn of events. So all of a sudden, Resolution level 7, dead even with a Mirana that was 2 levels ahead before that gank.
Yeah, absolutely. A good bit of momentum shift. Arrow going to fly, not going to be on the mark. Resolution did have an invisibility rune, but decided just to regen up, and now he's going to crow that bottle back. The 2 carries are farming just about on point. Gyrocopter up in the top lane. Sachka has been pretty much in free farm heaven. That Clockwork unable to contest his farm too much. Not going a greedy Midas build, though. Did grab Phase Boots and Ring of Aquila to get things started. Still on par with that Doom net worth, though. Expect that to change in the upcoming moments as that Midas kicks in.
One thing I've noticed about Sigma is that they rarely go greedy early on. They normally don't go Midas. Top lane, they are diving Mag.
Yep, Mag going to be in trouble here. The call down successful. The hook shot forward to try to get a bit of extra damage onto Paris, but won't be enough to secure a kill. Now, Always Wanna Fly going to come in. They might be able to get a recovery kill. No, that's just going to be a dead Ancient Apparition. Bit of a misplay there for Always Wanna Fly.
Here comes Resolution.
And Resolution, maybe he can clean it up. There's the zip forward. Moonlight Shadow going to come out. That's going to buy Sachka some time. Now Impetus coming out on Resolution. He's got nowhere to go. They might be able to get a 3rd kill up here. They don't want to dive it, but they will repel.
Moonlight Shadow, so good. Getting that early point in it is crucial. And an arrow's going to come in, but will not connect. But yeah, to go back to what I was mentioning earlier, they rarely go greedy with items early on. You don't normally see an early Helm of the Dominator on their Gyro, and already he's gone Ring of Aquila, Bracer, and Phase Boots. I don't know if we'll actually complete drums, but Sigma is a team that really favors early to mid-game fighting items. Sometimes you'll see them go for Midases once they've established a commanding lead, but you compare that to Empire, naked Midas rush on Doom, and if Empire isn't losing too many engagements, obviously they're going to come out hugely on top in terms of golden experience.
Right. And already Doom's starting to pull ahead just a little bit, but all in all, Sachka is keeping up in the farm and grabbing those 2 kills up top. Certainly aren't going to hurt on that front. Down bottom, Visage going to be in big trouble, but Paris going to be nearby. The call down going to connect with Resolution. It's at least going to be a 1-for-1, and it's not done there. Always Wanna Fly still in a little bit of trouble. Fada with a haste rune going to come in, and they will make it a 1-for-2. Now Vanscore going to pour it in. Empire not playing very tight this game, and this is going to be a free kill coming out. Oh no, they will be able to grab a recovery kill on Fada as Doom throws the ultimate. Mag with a hook shot available, looking to line it up. Some more support coming in on the Dire Tower. Sachka trying to do some footwork around the creeps, not giving an easy hook shot. And in comes the Slark. Now Mag going to be the one in a little bit of trouble. It's pure chaos down here in the bottom lane, LD. But Sigma going to be the victors as they end up trading a 4-for-2, if I'm not mistaken.
That Clockwork TP was extremely late. He had like 10 to 15 seconds just sitting top, not TPing. And it seemed like maybe they were just going to sack their losses, but, well, they're not done yet.
Always Wanna Fly, going to take another spill. Sigma with this early momentum are just unrelenting. Paris finally going to pour it out as he takes a bit too much damage. But wow, Resolution now, he's back into the mix. Thought he might hop forward to finish off the Slark, but they're trying to bait it. They're just going to turn their sights onto Pos, and he will take a first-class ticket back to the grave.
Jesus, dude, what a bloodbath bottom lane. And, you know, they're running Midas Doom, and their Storm didn't have a good start, but that's where Mag needs to TP earlier. He had TP off cooldown for, 15 seconds might be an exaggeration, but at least 10 seconds, and it seemed like they were just going to sack the fight, but then they TP'd in the Veno, then the Doom came in, and then he finally showed up. But by that point, Sigma had started respawning, so I would have liked to see them just make a clear decision.
Arrow going to connect on Resolution in the mid lane. Fada going to hop forward, and that's going to be an easy kill. Get that double Star Storm.
And here comes Slark.
And now Slark going to connect. Always Want to Fly. Hookshot going to be off the mark from Mag. Maybe going to try and land some cogs, but Always Want to Fly definitely going to fall right here. We'll be able to get the ultimate off before he goes down. That secures the kill onto the Mirana.
They have Doom in 3 seconds. Can they kill off this Slark? He's really low.
And, yep, Doom going to go off. Slark definitely going to fall. Mad looking to pick up another kill here. Impetus onto Mag, maybe one more. And Visage going to be there to finish him off. The rest of the support comes in. They're going to clean up the Doom. And maybe they're going to get Vanscore as well. Empire finding some kills, but Sigma just continually getting the better of these exchanges.
4 heroes dead. They're just getting run over right now. Didn't have Doom until the fight was nearly over. They get some recovery kills on core heroes, but this Gyro already has Phase, Aquila, Drums, Complete, and 900 gold in the bank. This is the power of going early combat items, not going greedy. Sure, they're running 3 carries, but Empire ran a safe lane Doom, rushed to Midas, and also when Doom's down, Doom just doesn't do much. It's got a decent cooldown. You compare that to Gyro. The ult's only got like under a 1-minute cooldown. He can constantly be fighting, and I just love the way Sigma's playing. Active with all 3 carries all over the map. A lot of pressure on Empire, and Empire just playing a bit discombobulated, not TPing in together. It seems like they're not really very well coordinated this game.
Yeah, it definitely feels that they don't have that same level of team synergy that we're used to seeing with Empire. The strategy that Sigma are employing with this non-stop aggression is really working in their favor. It puts Doom on the back foot, and speaking of Doom, down in the bottom lane, in a little bit of trouble here. Visage Familiar is going to do a bit of work. There's a Centaur in the mix, but not going to be able to secure the kill. Paris not going to man up into the tower, but during that last fight, Doom actually went to the grave with his Midas and Devour off cooldown, so even just forcing Doom to fight and not allowing him free range to manage those cooldowns is putting a dent in his bottom line.
He's safe lane Doom who rushed like a 5-minute Midas. I mean, he had a stout shield, so it's not the fastest possible, but it's really fast in spite of that, and he's not the lead farmer. Gyro's ahead of him. 4-0 and 4, Doom 0-1 and 3. Just hasn't had the impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, and 4-0-4 on that Gyro, a stat worth reiterating. Very impressive from Sachka, and
his rotations have been really good since that game at Starladder I mentioned, where up until that point at the event, he felt like he was just AFK farming a lot, not really helping the team, but he's playing like a man possessed and seems to be in the right place at the right time consistently for this team.
Yep. Top tier 1 tower is going to get denied. Arrow going to fly. Will actually connect with the Clockwork, but Resolution's going to be nearby, so there won't be any follow-up.
Bottom lane, they're going in now.
And Vanscore going to take a call down. That is going to be one dead Venomancer. He does connect with the Gale before he falls, but obviously won't be enough to keep him alive.
And mid lane's getting pressure. This game is just action all over the place.
It sure is.
They had Doom there, but not going to hit the A ult, so they will back off.
Yep. That tower still with plenty of hit points left. Only 1 tower to fall, and it was the one that was denied up top, though it's about to be 2, as Sigma are now pressuring this bottom tier 1 tower, and it looks like they may set up a kill opportunity onto Ancient Apparition. Visage Familiars to start it off. In comes Pos. There's the arrow gonna connect, and that is 1 dead Ancient Apparition.
Jesus, man. 19-8. This is brutal. They drafted a Tricore. Their supports are really strong late game as well. Enchantress does a lot of DPS. Obviously, Visage does too. Sigma basically has 5 heroes that can carry, and everyone's having a good game right now.
Yep.
Their worst performer is a 3-2 and 3 Enchantress, and as you would expect when that's the case, they lead by 8k experience, 7.5k gold. All they need to do is keep the pressure up at this point. Empire boxed in, their Storm is horribly poor, and until he gets an Orchid, he's not going to have any impact this game.
Yeah, and he is not close to that Orchid whatsoever. He's got the double robe of the Magi, but still pretty far off the mark. Arrow in the mid lane does not connect with Resolution, so he will survive for now. But the big disparity in this match, the carries are farming reasonably comparable. It's those supports that have a huge amount of farm on the side of Sigma relative to Empire. Both Venomancer and Ancient Apparition so broke, and those are 2 heroes that end up being pretty easy ganks if they get caught off guard, both of them with just brown boots, so if they're in a little bit of a forward position, does translate to a pretty easy kill for Sigma.
It really goes back to the laning stage. They ran a Storm mid against Visage Enchantress, and they didn't give him any help. Veno didn't babysit a mid like I mentioned maybe they would do. Doom rushed to Midas bottom, and so he needed more help early on. And ultimately, running Doom is always a gamble because his laning just isn't that strong. So when he needs help, that means less help for the Storm.
Yep, and down bottom, Silent and Vanscore are going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Impetus coming out from the Enchantress. They're going to drop the Doom before he can even burn the ultimate. It's going to be another easy kill for Sigma. Oh, boy. It's quickly looking a little bit grim for Empire. We're only 15 minutes in, but the momentum is just so far in Sigma's favor. About a 7,500 gold lead, and the experience lead, even worse, sitting right around 10,000.
So if you're Empire right now, you've lost control over your own jungle. You're up against 5 heroes that can carry, 3 cores farming well, and they keep on dying. I think this Venom will TP out in time. Yeah, he'll get away, but they need to just make plays happen around the map. Somehow just set up kills, smoke gank, use Doom when it's up, and go for fights then. They can't just try and sit and farm lanes. If they do that, Sigma's just going to continue to pick them apart.
Yeah, and this Ancient Apparition pick seems to be not working out so well for him. AA is 3, 7, and 4. He represents about a third of the kills that Sigma have been able to pick up so far. That is unfortunate for AA.
Yeah.
To say the least.
They're running 2 supports that don't actually have stuns either, which isn't always the biggest deal. We've seen it work really well for Alliance. Actually, it's Starlighter as well, but in this case, you're up against 2 very elusive carries, and you don't have stuns. It makes life difficult. They really rely on Doom to get kills. When Doom's up, they can kill somebody. Without it, good luck.
And of course, Doom, that single target ability, it's great for locking down one hero, but in a situation like this, there's a lot of others that can also do a lot of damage. Aside from the Doom target. Shadow Blade is now up on Slark, the courier just about to deliver it, so that's going to make things even more difficult for Empire. An already elusive hero going to have yet another tool to cruise around the map.
They see Slark here. Can they go on him? They've got Doom.
And that is going to be a dead Slark. So just as I'm talking about his elusive properties, they lock him down, but
that's what they need to do, is every time Doom's up, you got to find a kill. And to do that, they need vision, and they've actually done a decent job of reestablishing some semblance of map control. This Observer Ward's been up for a little while. They did manage to deward a Sigma ward that was in their jungle, but still Sigma has good vision on this hill. So basically all around the map, Empire trying... whenever Doom's up, they can get a kill, and whenever it's down, they just need to be on the back foot, farming safely, farming in pairs, and not farming away from towers. Because if they do that, they're going to feed.
Yeah. And they've done pretty well keeping this mid-Tier 1 tower alive, their last remaining Tier 1 tower, but of course mid serves as more of an access point than anything else, so it is a tower worth defending more often than not, and that's at least giving Resolution a little bit of room to farm in this lane before they lose that bit of map control. Really an important part of their side of the map, and I think Sigma may group up and try and finally knock that tower down before too long here. Sachka now has his BKB up on the Gyrocopter, so that's always a big item pickup.
Oh, they're going in mid. They've got a Shadow Blade on Slark, but they don't have any stuns here, so they're not going to be able to kill this Storm.
Yep. And also Mech almost completed on the Enchantress.
That's a big AA ult.
Going to do a lot of damage. The Rocket to follow up. Resolution maybe looking for an opening, but not going to zip forward. Boy, that AA ult does so much damage, LD. Look at this. They're all
really good against Slark, too. Like, you can see that hero is not scary at all when the AA ult's on him, but as soon as it wears off, he's right back in business. And they've just completed BKB on Sakshka. Their team fight in the pit is extremely strong now. Empire don't have Doom yet. It just cooled down, but their map control just lacking at this point. Look at top lane pushed. It's like pushed to the tower. So if they go to contest Roche, they're losing 2-3 waves of experience, and I don't really feel this is going to be a Roche they can contest. They're not in position for it, even if they were a very hard fight against the BKB Gyro.
We see Resolution pinging out on Fada, maybe trying to set up a kill, but no one going to be in position. Though the posturing around the pit from Empire is enough to make Sigma think twice.
There's no Doom here, though. They can't fight without him.
Moonlight Shadow comes out. Resolution poking forward here. And I think they caught a glimpse of that Moonlight Shadow, and again, that'll be enough to deter them.
Are they going to try and steal the Aegis? Storm's waiting. Resolution? Nope, not going to go for it.
No, maybe thinking about it, but it is going to be an uncontested Roche. Of course, Sachka going to be the one to grab the Aegis of the Immortal, and now they will press forward. Those Veno wards going to slow them down just a little bit, but there is a homing missile coming in.
I freaking hate fighting against Gyro. Like, even though homing missile is not a very good spell, it's always annoying when he puts one on you. And they're going to find him here. They do have access to Doom, but do you want to blow it on the Aegis carrier? Probably not.
Well, just going to do a little bit of damage. All of Empire are grouped up right here. Sigma nearby, but they're much more spread out. They need to be a little bit more cautious about how they want to take this team fight. They threw an arrow.
Nice play from Resolution. The Familiars were split pushing mid. The tower was almost about to go down, but zips in, gets the tower denied. They need that because, I mean, the gold graph is spiraling quite heavily out of control at this point.
Yeah. And Doom's still not that #1 farmer on the net worth chart. He's slowly but surely catching up to the gyrocopter, but still has a little ways to go. He does have a plate mail, and now going to grab the mithril hammer. So is that just kind of a casual plate mail for now? That into a BKB is sort of an interesting item trajectory here from the Doombringer.
Yeah, that it's the only item a Doom would really go for. You're not going to get like a Desolator or a Maelstrom unless you're trolling. So I think BKB is pretty good this game. There's a lot of pure damage from Sigma, from Enchantress, a lot of nuke damage. If he ever gets arrowed, he's screwed. And who else is going to go in first? Clock can hook in, but he's pretty much just food. So they kind of need more frontline here so Storm can choose his spots more carefully. And there's just a lot of magic damage. So even if he got an AC, it's not a game-changing item, nor would Shiv. Shiva's, I think, would be... Either Shiva's or BKB would be the two best items right now. But he's in a tough spot. He needs several items, not just a BKB. So this is just like whatever he gets, it's not enough yet.
Well, speaking of items, at least Clockwork has been able to get up a Blade Mail. So he still isn't that farmed, but he's got one of those core items, a little bit of extra armor, and, well, if they're not careful, sometimes that Blade Mail can be pretty potent. But all in all, this Clockwork is pretty underwhelming in terms of farm at the moment. He is towards the bottom of that net worth chart, as he has been for most of this match. Going to be a quick pause here, and get right back into the action, LD. 20 minutes, 9-20, our first best of one. Boy, has it been action-packed, and we're going to see more action continue up top. Arrow going to connect on Resolution, and Fada going to leap forward to snipe that Haste Rune as he does run back to friendly territory.
At this point, Sakshka has Aegis, and even if they go on him, he's going to respawn with BKB and can most likely take the fight. So he can split push aggressively. Slark with Shadowblade can do the same. All of their cores can be really cocky, and on top of that, they have the familiars to split push. So I think if you're Sigma, you farm your next round of items, and then you go before the Aegis expires. And looking at that next round of items, BKB is almost up on Marana. Slark getting close to probably Eye of Scotty. It's normally what we would see next. Lincoln's is also a possibility. Pretty good versus Doom, and you can just put it on the gyro as well. And even the Ags for Visage not far off. So I expect Sigma just farm for the next few minutes, 1 to 2, get your next core items, and then they should be looking to take at least one tier 2 or force a fight at that point.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense. They're in that interim period right now where they have a lot of items close to completion. And just waiting for that last bit of gold, like you were mentioning. I think Mad now going to have the mech up. Yeah, there it is, going to be delivered on the courier. So that alone is going to have a big impact in these team fights. No mech even in production for Team Empire. So that will definitely have a positive impact there on the side of Sigma. They did pick up a gem already.
Bottom lane, they're going in on Silent, but...
Empire Silent, he is going to port out. He will be able to survive. And as will Vanscore. And speaking of that gem, he is the gem carrier. So smart play from the Veno to get into Fog and port out pretty much ASAP.
Yeah, the arrow was just like was going to be a split second late. Fada thought about it, but just couldn't quite get there in time. But he still has his BKB out. Fucking Mad did go mech, which is a little bit less common on Enchantress. We've seen more Ags play, but they need someone to build it. And with double BKB on the cores, mech up on the Enchantress, their 5-man's very scary at this point. Sure, they're running 3 carry. Sure, their supports generally need a decent amount of farm to be effective later on, but they've got it, man. They can fight now. And
Gyrocopter, just a couple of creeps from hitting level 16, so that level 3 cooldown not going to hurt either. He is actually the highest level in the game. He'll be the first to grab that level 3 ultimate. And speaking of cooldown, going to burn it up top here. That will clear up the creep wave. So maybe some fighting will start. Looks like Sigma going to do a bit of split pushing as Marana with an illusion rune, as well as Slark going to pressure the tier 2 in the bottom, while Empire do move up to the top lane to try and knock down their first tower of the match. That is a scary statistic in and of itself. 22 minutes in, Empire yet to secure a single tower kill.
Jesus, and they have a Veno and Doom who can be a good pusher with the R's, but they are smoked and going on mid. Yep. Can they find this Visage?
It looks like they'll find him. Gale going to connect in the wise words of LD, he did.
And that will force a TP cancel. Meanwhile, the Storm split pushing on top. If they get a familiar stun, Resolution's dead, but he should just be able to zip out.
Yep.
Maybe Missile is coming as well. He needs to dodge this with the zip. Well played. Yeah, if you zip towards it, it's pretty easy to dodge. Zips and TPs and will escape. So good individual play there. But bottom lane, they did kill the AA.
Yep, down there, AA, no way to survive. The tier 2 tower does stand, so if his goal was to fend, I suppose it was a success, though he did pay with his life. Opened up a little bit of space for Silent in the mid lane to knock down that tier 1, so speak of the devil, they do get a tower kill. And Marana gets picked off while all that's happening down here in the bottom lane, so it looks like Mirana just hung around a little bit too long, and Resolution was able to capitalize with a kill.
Yeah, got silenced, got pulled, couldn't pop the BKB.
Oh, yeah. There's that Orchid.
Yeah, has BKB, but if you get Electric Vortex immediately, it's pretty hard to react in time, because you can go for the pull as you're zipping in.
Yeah.
So they still have Aegis. MKB's ready for Gyro in 1,000 gold. Actually, does he have anything on the courier? Yeah, so they may wait for the next Aegis at this point. A little bit sloppy giving up that Mirana kill bottom lane, but overall, they're running the Tri-Core. Their lineup's really scary late game, and still the momentum. Definitely in Sigma's favor, but this Doom is getting big. BKB's up, can work towards the Shivas or the AC, and that's the point where Doom becomes like that walking tank of a carry.
Yeah. He can definitely start to take off a little bit. Still has a ways to go. And looking at item choices here, I had a point and I totally just lost it. Never mind, LD.
That's okay.
Still early. That coffee's still kicking in.
Yeah, Slark is going. I'm really interested to see if he goes Lincoln's or Scotty here, because I think both would. You can make a case for both of them this game, but they're going in bottom. They're looking for Resolution, but he drops a Remnant. They do get Flying Vision, and
Arrow.
They will dodge the gank.
Yep, gonna scout it out, and perhaps they don't want to go on this. It is a 4-man core for Empire down here in the bottom lane. And up top it is Mag. Needs to be a little careful. Gyrocopter can certainly pick up a solo kill here if he's not careful. A smoke going to be used by Empire. All 4 from this bottom lane will make a rotation. It looks like towards the mid, though. Up top, Mag going to get initiated on as Slark rotates his way up there. Blade Mail going to get popped, but won't be enough to keep him alive. And Slark going to put another one on the scoreboard for Sigma International.
And the smoke gank continues mid. They have a gem up on Resolution. Not going to help them against Slark, but his ult is on cooldown right now. Can they find Fata? Oh, they're going to instead they'll find a Visage. That was easy. Yeah. And they have Doom. They could get 2 if Fata comes back in.
Yeah,
nice job reserving the Doom by Silent.
Yep. Pos going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time right there. But as always, a little bit of space created, and that means that top tier 2 tower did fall for Empire. They were able to push after the kill on the clockwork, so still able to find a positive amongst the negative of their Visage taking a trip back to the grave. Mirana going to burn the Moonlight Shadow, and Fata needs to be a little careful here. Doom still off cooldown, as we mentioned, but not going to be in position to use it.
Even though Sigma has by far more just raw late-game damage output and, you know, traditional carries, Empire has the better pick-off lineup for sure. Clockwork, Storm, and Doom, so this is where Sigma has to be careful. They gave up quite a few kills. If you look at, like, the overall, what they got out of that Aegis, they got basically no additional advantage. They didn't take any of the tier 2s. They gave up that Mirana kill bottom, and they fed the Storm a bit. And overall, gold lead has been consistent. So overall, Empire played really well while Sigma had the Aegis, and they've got more items, but, I mean, Empire's accruing them too. So I don't think Sigma got nearly enough done with the advantage they had with that Aegis, and need to step it up for the second one, because if you get to late game against the farm Doom, Storm, and, you know, just having a clockwork, they're just going to find pick-offs anytime you're not 5-manning.
Yeah. One thing that's really impressed me is the amount of experience that Sachka's been able to pick up. He is level 18, and there's still no one else that has breached the level 16 mark. So he is he's 3 levels up on the next highest hero, which is just amazing, especially considering he doesn't have a Midas against a team that has a hand of Midas. Very impressive.
Yeah, he's farmed quite a few Ancient stacks, though, and that's where the experience really comes from. Plus, his kill score 4-0 and 5. He hasn't fought much lately, but they're going to push high ground. Despite not having Aegis, it's hard to go high ground against AA, though. The ult comes in, and they got to run.
Yeah, now Paris in a little bit of trouble. There's the Electric Vortex. Mag going to come in. He'll connect with a set of power cogs to break the team fight up a little bit. Sachka going to be the first to fall. Visage going to go down as well. Slark going to stand his ground for now. Once the man up onto Mag, he's going to find himself a kill, but it will cost him his life. That's going to make it a 1 for 3. Sigma International on the back foot. Mirana going to hop backwards. Finally going to use that Moonlight Shadow, and that's where this fight's going to settle down. So not the best team fight in terms of hero kills, but that tier 3 tower did fall. So Sigma is still, would you call that a break even, LD? You can pull up the calculator?
Gold-wise, yeah, but I'd say a huge win for Empire. They got a lot of experience out of that fight. They blunted Sigma's momentum, and if you're Sigma, you know Roche is coming up in the next 2 to 3 minutes. It's already past the time where he could have respawned if he's got like a minute and a half to go. They have the dire advantage. They took the tier 2 bottom and the tier 2 top. Their map control's good to just take a Roche fight. I'm surprised they forced that much, and I think that's where they just really underestimate going high ground against A ult as well as Veno. He didn't even get to use his ult in that fight, but that Ancient Apparitional, as soon as it hit, Slark had to run. Your Gyro couldn't really do a whole lot when he got doomed, and they don't have great supports to kind of bail a carry out of trouble. There's no Shadow Demon on the side of Sigma. There's no Chen to send it back, and that's where Doom's incredibly strong. Doesn't matter how farmed the gyro is, and that's why I was wondering, maybe we'll see Migo go Lincolns to potentially counter a Doom, but
yeah,
he's actually going for IF Scotty. So Doom will continue to be a big problem whenever they go high ground.
And interestingly enough, Gyrocopter didn't use his BKB in that last
well,
fight.
he got Doom.
Yeah.
So
he got oh right, he was Doom. I'm so sorry. That was
no, it's okay.
That was a silly
but
thing
they're
to
smoked
say.
now. They're smoked, and Sakshka actually gonna get revealed. I don't think he saw this Ancient Apparition because it is nighttime.
Oh, the arrow going to be very close to connecting with AA, but still going to be a bit off the mark. Mag might not be out of the clear yet. Slark going to poke forward. That is going to be a dead Clockwork. Not going to have a unit to hook shot to. And they're going to grab themselves a kill. And a big kill at that. Clockwork, the initiator, that will make Roshan a bit more difficult as they do rotate towards the pit. And should be a pretty easy Roach kill here, I think.
Yeah, with Clockwork down, he's the one who jumps in. And last fight, he got a great hook shot. Hooked in, Cog 2. That combined with the well-timed and placed Doom as well as the AA ult, hitting 5 heroes, that was why they won that high ground fight. But now they're going to be fighting outside of their base. And, well, AA ult's going to connect in the Roche pit. Yeah. Best time to go in as well. It's still there. Going for the Aegis steal.
Oh, Resolution. He's going to hop right in. He's got the BKB on. Who's going to get the last hit on Roche? It looks like they're just going to turn and start hitting heroes. Resolution going to be forced to hop out. It is going to be killed by the Dire, but Doom snatched the Aegis. And Doom going to pop the ulti onto the Gyrocopter. He used the BKB, but it won't be enough. It's going to be a 1-for-1. Make that a 2-for-1. Mad on the back foot. He's going to try and make it back to the Tier 2 tower. That poison ticking him down. He will fall to one last level death. Now they're going to come in. Fada in a little bit of trouble. Moonlight Shadow comes out. But the Visage Familiars, maybe they can grab a recovery kill on the Always Want to Fly here. And it looks like they'll do just that. Silent, maybe not out of the clear quite yet. Don't forget, though, he's got that Aegis that he snatched. Slark going to go man mode, will stand his ground, and he's going to be successful. Fada going to join the fight now. Aegis going to bring him back up, but they do not want to tango. Mag is respawned. Arrow going to be off the mark. Poss, you crazy dog. He's going to stand his ground. He'll take a hook shot to the face, and he will take a spill. Fada very low. Is going to be forced to back up. There's the leap backwards. So that snatched Aegis really coming in handy there, LD.
Yeah, they didn't have clock for the Roche fight. They still want it, dude. Ancient Apparition ult and Veno ult is a very potent combo. As much as these supports have their drawbacks, no stuns, not great, not amazing laning presence for the AA, they're doing work right now in the mid game. And like these two supports ults, even though the Doom snatches the Aegis, he's the one getting the kills and most of the gold. It's those two supports ults that are winning these fights.
But we can't forget that Sigma did get the last hit on Roche, so they still got a little gold pick-me-up. And if we look at the gold graph, that's still pretty much leveled out. The experience graph is where things are starting to change.
But it doesn't feel like they can fight, does it? Because
that's going to be enough to kill Fada. Look at that. AA going to snipe him with the ult as he tries to make it back to the well.
They've got Doom. Man. They could maybe fight mid.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Doom
no
with the
mana.
BKB on.
He popped a level death. Doesn't have mana. Needs to run.
Yeah, well, they do finish off the tower, though. So all of a sudden, Empire with this huge spike in momentum. And I think you hit the nail on the head, LD. A lot of it is attributed to that AA ult paired with the Venomancer Poison Nova.
Yeah, and they haven't even completely combined them. Like, we haven't seen them Veno ult and then AA ult later in the fight, which is the ideal way to do it, right? Because you get everyone low and then they all shatter. The AA ult's been wearing off before Veno ult comes out, but it's just so much damage anyway that it almost doesn't matter.
Right.
I want to see an Ags on this AA, but he's fairly poor, despite having a huge impact.
Poor Veno. Going to be an easy kill for the Slark. An unsuspecting Venomancer just going to get dropped like he's hot. But Resolution going to hop forward. He's got that Orchid. Going to silence the Slark. Slark going to stand his ground for now. And yeah, that's going to be the end of it. Slark actually could have manned up a little bit more as Resolution was out of mana, but didn't have vision on the Empire support, so decides to play it safe. And we'll head back to friendly territory where there is still a Tier 1 tower remaining here in the bottom lane for the Dire.
Empire, it doesn't matter if they have less DPS, which they still do by a long shot. They just have, in terms of like right-click damage, because they have Doom and they have Storm, so their pick-off potential continues to be much greater. And I mean, I've been talking about those heroes, but Ancient Apparition's been sniping heroes as well. Yeah. So Empire showing a really resilient playstyle here. They got crushed in the laning stage. I'd say they lost all 3 lanes. Storm got shut down mid. The Gyrocopter was free farming. The Murano was getting a lot of farm as well, and Slark was getting levels in the off lane, and the supports had great early roams. This has kind of been the story for Sigma. Zyori is oftentimes they crush the laning stage, but equally often, it seems they just struggle to end and win the game and capitalize on a big lead.
Yeah, well, when you go more mid-game oriented items like that gyrocopter build, you're sacrificing your late-game farming potential by not getting a Midas, and you have all that farming room and then grabbing those early items. It's great for that early to mid-game, but once you start to transition towards the tail end of that mid-game, it gets a little bit more difficult to seal the deal and almost puts you on a timer where you need to make plays happen. Slark does have his Scotty up, though. I don't know if we mentioned that, but that is always a big item pickup on the Slark. Not only going to give him a bit more damage in that passive slow, but going to make him a little bit more tanky as well.
Yeah, they got to be careful now. There's a Radiant Observer Ward up in their own jungle, and they're moving. If they find one hero, that's an instant kill with a Doom. And then if Sigma try to fight at that point, they could easily get 3, 4-man, 5-man wiped.
Yeah, Empire's been doing a great job using that Doom ulti on the core targets, and it's been Sachka in most of these core fights, and it's really done an effective job of slowing down the team fight damage from Sigma because, well, Sachka is their big damage dealer if left unchecked.
Empire are currently the team, they have a gem on the Storm, and he could pretty much just go D-ward wherever he wants. There's no reliable lockdown on Sigma to stop him from just zipping out. They don't have a Hex yet. Fucking Mad's not going to be farming one. No Abyssal Blade on Slark, so I would like to see them just move around as a team, get full control back over the Roche pit. There's like 3 wards in the bottom river that they could instantly D-ward with the Storm.
Yep.
But for now, they are going to group up bottom a bit, and I mean, as you mentioned earlier, they haven't taken that many towers. They took the tier 1, tier 2 mid, the tier 1 top, but for 35 minutes in, 3 towers is not very much, so this tier 1 bottom might be public enemy #1 for Empire.
Yep. And up top, Resolution does have an invisibility rune on, maybe looking for an opening to engage on
They saw
Sachka.
him pick that up.
Yeah, that would be a scary precedent here. They also threw a homing missile onto him, so he's been scouted out for sure. The AA ult going to come in, actually going to connect with Sachka before this fight starts. There's the zip back, and not going to be able to lock him down. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Empire going to pressure this tier 1 tower. The glyph does get popped by Sigma, and they will port in. Let's see how they want to defend this. Sachka going to be in the front lines here. Moonlight Shadow going to be used. Actually, Slark going to be in the front lines. Call down going to come. Will connect with Vanscore and Always Want to Fly. And it looks like they might be able to grab themselves a kill onto the Venomancer. That arrow going to connect with the AA, and that will be both supports from Empire in the grave.
Really smart, and they actually might get 3 because that homing missile just connected. No, it's only level 1, so
Yeah.
not a long enough stun. But as soon as they saw Storm TP out top, they immediately sent everybody bottom because they knew Storm couldn't join the fight.
Yep.
He had no mana, he had to go back to base, and they have no tier 1 or tier 2 bottom, so there's nowhere for him to TP anyway. But Empire want to fight anyway.
And looks like they're going to use a level death on Paz to start things off. Arrow going to fly, not going to connect. Silent going to be the target of choice, though. There's the pounce. It will leash. They're going to force the BKB out. Mech gets popped straight away by Sigma. There's the Shivas. Clockwork going to be the first to fall, but they are going to get that kill onto Fada. The Doom ulti was used to secure that kill, and now Doom going to be cruising around. They do want to try and finish off the Doombringer, as that elusive Storm going to be a lot harder to lock down. They're going to find it as Slark connects with a pounce. And that is the dead position 1 for Team Empire. Now Sigma with all 5 alive as Mirana buys back. They might be able to break this bottom base, LD.
Yeah, that's not the kind of fight Empire wants. They don't have the firepower to just turn it into like a man fight between carries. Their lineup, all about the pickoff, all about just getting a 5v4 advantage with a Doom, a hookshot, the global or semi-global combo from these long-range initiators. And it just goes back to that decision-making from Sigma. As soon as they saw the Storm zip back top, they all go bottom, and that's where Empire had to equally react quickly by backing off, and just didn't do it in time.
And Doom will buy back here. AA ult comes out and doesn't really connect with a hell of a lot. Now this fight going to start to transpire. Resolution going to hop in as he zips back and forth. Call down to clear out some of these creeps. Fada now going to hop forward. Starstorm will force out the mech. Mag going to be the target of choice. He pops the BKB, but won't be enough to keep him alive. And it looks like Sigma might be able to take this fight. As Always Want to Fly is forced back. There's the Moonlight Shadow. Mag going to get caught in a vortex. They will secure the kill on the Enchantress. BKB's popped all around. Resolution taking a lot of damage, as is the Slark. It is just a bloodbath down here in the Empire base, but it looks like Empire will repel. They're going to pick up kills on Sachka now, Paz, and they will clean it up with that Mirana. Well, no, she'll be able to...
That's a full 5-man wipe. That's 5 down. They bought back on the Storm and the Doom.
Oh, no.
So it was quite expensive. But Mirana also recently used a buyback. I believe it was during that earlier engagement bottom. Yep. So, 2 for 1 in buybacks. Huge team fight win for Sigma, followed by a huge team fight win for Empire. I would say it's pretty even overall.
Yeah, I mean, the graphs reflect
I guess
that.
the other question is who's got gems right now. And Resolution sitting on He actually picked up the Sigma gem. Vankscore had a gem that Resolution was holding
And he's got it
earlier,
back.
and did Sigma get the second gem
No.
back, or is it in the Empire?
2 gems on the side of Empire, 1 in the inventory of Vanscore, and 1
I
on the
almost
side
want to
of
say Empire
Resolution.
broke even, if not came out on top, because having the gem with the next Roche coming soon, very important. So they should be able to deward the pit, they'll push out the lanes, but they have 2 heroes with no buyback. So if they get caught out in the next minute or two, that could just be game.
Now here's an interesting item pickup following that team fight. Sachka going to go ahead and right-click an Eye of Scotty now after that MKB. Not an item we see on Gyrocopter all that frequently.
No, definitely not. Very unusual, actually, but I think we might see Silent go down here. No, he'll be okay.
No, not going to go for it, though. Silent is going to turn. He's going to burn the ultimate on Slark. I don't know that they're going to have the follow-up to finish him off. Now Pa's going to be nearby, and they're going to try to defend this Tier 2 tower.
Remember, he doesn't have buyback. If they overstay their welcome here, it could be really bad.
Yep.
But they'll
Tower
get the
will
kill,
fall.
and they're pressuring top, and they back off. So in the end, works out beautifully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have Scotty on Gyro is very curious. Against Doom, raw stats are good because once you get doomed, there's nothing you could do, right?
Yeah, just try and survive. That's about it.
And Heart's not really a very it's not really the best item on Gyro.
Right.
You could just get a Satanic, though. I mean, my feeling is either the Gyro's going to die during Doom or he's not, and I don't feel like having a Scotty is going to offer him anything that a Satanic wouldn't. Gives you a little more damage. The slow effect is okay, but Sigma's problem is not chasing heroes down. They've got plenty of slow stuns and chasing potential. I'm not a big fan, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like
I'd rather just see the standard Satanic or Butterfly.
Yeah, I think that lifesteal would really come in handy with the Satanic, but it will be a 3rd Roche going down in favor of Sigma, completely uncontested. Of course, 3rd Roche does mean cheese. The cheese will go the way of Slark, and the Aegis did go to the Gyrocopter, as we would expect.
Yeah, also worth mentioning is that I have Scotty doesn't really interact well with Flak Cannon. You're not slowing every target when you splash around. So generally that's why we see just raw damage and then, you know, something like Satanic Butterfly.
And it's also curious given that they already have a Scotty up on Slark. Is double Scotty usually
It's really cost efficient just for the stats, but I feel like the passive slow is very underwhelming late game compared to a lot of active Tier 4 items. Butterfly's evasion, really game-breaking late game. There's no MKBs on Empire. Obviously, Doom's going to make that ineffective, but if you don't die during Doom, then it's great. I think Lincoln's would be a decent option. Maybe not for him, but certainly for his teammates. Or just going Satanic is the other big choice, which I'm surprised he did it. Not to mention, sometimes you just want to go Rapier.
Yeah.
Probably not this game. I mean, but later on, maybe that's something he thinks about. We're going to have a big fight, though. They're sieging the base.
Yep. Sigma will press forward. Glyph is available for Empire, so if they just try and focus on the racks, there will be that get-out-of-jail-free card. Looks like they do want to focus on the melee racks. Of course, it will regenerate if they don't finish it off in one fell swoop. There's the Glyph coming out from Empire. Still yet to commit to the fight. Resolution going to pop forward, and Gyrocopter in a bit of trouble.
He's got Aegis, but they held Doom. They can use it on him when he comes back.
Yep. Doom has already burned his BKB, though, and it's expired, so they might be able to pick up a kill. BKB going to be popped on Gyrocopter. There's the Doom. A pop comes out on... Oh, no, not used on Gyrocopter. Did he? I don't know.
No, he is doomed. It's just so many effects, can't even see it.
Too many particles here. Looks like Empire will be repelled, though. A lot of them still alive. They're going to make it back to the well. AA going to pick up a kill on the Enchantress, as he has managed to pick up that Ag Scepter. It may cost him his life, though. Fada going to stand his ground. No, he will die. They will get repelled, but the racks have fallen. So even though the team fight didn't go the way of Sigma, they got what they came for, and now they'll feel A-OK as they move into the back foot. Slark going to rejoin the fight. They're going to converge on top of Always Want to Fly. Ancient Apparition still alive. Maybe they're going to switch gears onto Silent. Always Want to Fly will fall to one last burst from the Visage. Silent trying to pursue the Gyrocopter. Will find that kill. Resolution may pay with his life. He's completely out of mana, but Sigma just don't have any resources left. Visage, the one last survivor, and probably not for long. The slow from Venno going to be enough to keep him locked down, and Doom going to finish him off with one last auto attack.
What a bloodbath this game has been. 30 to 35 in 42 minutes, and there were some quiet farming periods, but it's really heated up. So key things to note in that fight, Empire didn't have those buybacks I mentioned. There was no Storm buyback. There was no Doom buyback. They were still cooling out. If they had them, I think they hold racks and possibly 5-man wipe Sigma in the process. But Sigma played that well, knowing that there's no buybacks. They forced it. The Gyro patiently holding... they give him Aegis, and Empire did a good job. They held the Doom. They waited until he came back and then doomed him. But at that point, there was just critical mass of shit hitting the racks, and the racks fell anyway. That being said, Empire did wipe Sigma back the other way, and Aegis is gone. they might be able to break base here. There's a buyback on Slark and Gyro, but forcing those out would be huge.
Yes, Cheese was also burned. It wasn't the inventory of Slark, and he was forced to use it in that fight. So all of the benefits of Roche completely nullified at this point. We'll see if Sigma want to defend this or how they're going to go about doing it. If they can avoid using buybacks, that would be ideal. And it looks like that will be the case. Empire just going to back out. Doom has made an interesting item pickup, though. It is a Refresher Orb, so that will be double Doom in the next team fight, LD. Scary.
Yeah, Doom is really strong. This is not a troll build. This is an amazingly strong late game item for Doom, and it does a lot of damage too. Like, it's not just the silence or the lockdown. It hurts, and especially when he's got AC, he's got Shivas, he's right clicking you. I almost want to see him with an Alpha Wolf creep as well, because I feel like they're a bit lacking in the right click deeps. But Storm still hits pretty hard.
Yep.
If you're Sigma at this point, I feel like they need some Lincolns on this team. Empire have only a few single target abilities. The Storm Orchid, I guess he's got Orchid, Scythe, and Pulse, so he's got 3. There's Level Death, there's Double Doom. I guess Lincolns wouldn't actually be that effective. But either that or just something like a pipe on one of the supports might be nice. They have to live through the Dooms.
Yeah.
At least if they lose 2, because you double Doom and it's a 5v3.
Yep.
Very hard to take that fight. So that's the other thing Sigma can count on is maybe Boots of Travel buyback on some of their cores. That's the other way to deal with Refresher Doom late game. But basically, Refresher Doom, very hard to deal with late game.
Yeah, it is important to note, though, that Refresher Orb does have a pretty lengthy cooldown at 160 seconds. So there is going to be that window of opportunity where Sigma will have their cooldowns up while Refresher is still on cooldown. So it won't be every single fight where he can double Doom, but pretty frequent. And it looks like...
I would love to see double Doom with Necrolite Ags. you double Doom and then you slay somebody with the Necro ult and they can't even buy back. That would be pretty cool.
That is...
No Necro this game.
Yeah, that is definitely pretty dirty. Empire are smoked up, perhaps trying to catch somebody in the Ancients. Not going to fish their wish on that front. They will rotate around and their smoke's going to expire.
It's now Sigma's turn to go.
Yeah, all 5 members of Sigma smoked up. Arrow going to connect with Vanscore. This could be the opening they've been waiting for.
Not really the hero you want to go on. They want the Storm or the Doom.
Yeah, and they will agree with you, LD, as they do about face and head back towards the base.
Even if they hit the Storm or the Doom, I don't know if they can kill Storm. If they don't hit Doom, then he's just going to drop the double Doom, right? And if they hit the Doom, I don't think they can kill him in time. So, to be honest, I don't know if they would have gone in regardless of who they hit. But
fair enough.
They're going to think about mid.
Yeah.
You know, this is where Empire, despite not having any like hard carry late game, is still really strong.
Yeah.
Scythe's up on the Storm. He's had it for like 4 or 5 minutes, I guess, at this point. Their ability to find pickoffs is ridiculous, and that's why you see Sigma. They're constantly 5-manning. They cannot spread out at all unless they know where Empire are. If they do, that's an easy ticket to just throw the game.
Doom is a pretty tanky force now. He's taken over as the highest level, sitting level 24, probably going to be the first to hit 25. And look at that, 37 armor. That is a lot of physical reduction. So he really can just walk in that front line in these fights and feel pretty safe.
They are going to find the Slark here, but he's not alone. And there's still no gem on Sigma. Do they have it in the shop? They do. I would like to see them buy another gem at this point. There's no Invis heroes on Empire, but just purely for the map control. You don't want Empire to have any wards. If they have a ward up, that's an opportunity for Storm, Clock, or Doom to just jump a hero and snipe them immediately. So
yep.
I would like to see them buy a gem as this game goes on.
Yep, there's only 1 ward down on the map right now for Sigma, and it is down here in the bottom rune position on the high ground. And a lot of ward coverage here for Empire. They've actually got 4 wards up at the moment. So they do have both gems still in tow that they're carrying around.
Well, they found the Gyro.
Sachka in big trouble. The Hex going to be used to start things off. Gale going to connect. No way Gyro's going to survive that one. That will be a free kill going the way of Sigma. Does Gyro have buyback? Indeed he does, so it could be worse, but still, that's the kill that Empire were looking for.
They want to push just enough to force the Gyro buyback, and then they want to back, because at that point they have 1 Doom, and they want to fight with double Doom ideally, but I don't think he's going to be forced to buy back, and meanwhile top lane, always want to fly might pay with his life.
Yep, that Pounce going to connect, and in comes Resolution, going to go ahead and burn the Orchid on the Mirana. They're going to turn it around. Fada's going to take a trip back to the grave. Slark taking a lot of damage. Will burn the BKB, but not going to be enough to keep him alive. And this is when that Storm starts to transition into a little bit more of a carry rather than that mid-game presence with that BKB, Sheepstick, and Orchid. Boy, does he hit hard.
Yeah, and nice hook shot by Mag. That Slark was in ult form. He was shadow dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Still got hit anyway. So just aimed it towards the cloud and delivers. That's This is where it's hard to split push against Empire. Like, you'd like to spread the map, wait for your Gyro to buy back, but they have freaking Storm with Hex, and they have a Clockwork. So good luck split pushing and not dying.
Yep, and now Sigma gonna be in a bit of a sticky situation in terms of defense here. What do they have?
They have Gyro buyback, but there's no buyback on the Slark. And the Mirana just bought back, but Double Doom is up in 20 seconds. And if you're already fighting 4v5 and there's a Double Doom, you just lose the game right there. As soon as 2 heroes get doomed,
you're having a bad time.
They might have just lost, to be honest. I don't know if they can fight this. They need 5 heroes up, and they're not going to have them up in time.
Sachka will be respawning now. That bottom tier 3 already going to fall. Another arrow going to get chucked into the mix. Won't connect. Moonlight Shadow to try and initiate, but the racks are exposed. Resolution actually taking a lot of damage. The call down will connect, but the BKB is going to be popped aplenty. Visage will be the first to fall. They're going to get a counter kill on the Clockwork.
They've got another Doom here. Silent going to use it.
Oh, Paris, you're in big trouble, buddy. Down he goes. There's the buyback. Fada going to get the second Doom. He does not have a buyback that was burned before this fight. And I think this might actually be GGLD.
Well, that's 2 lanes of racks. Gyro just bought back, but they're pushing out top lane. They might lose a few, but there's 5 buybacks on Empire. So they can 5-man buyback if they want and go straight down top or mid. They don't have to, though. Sigma can't get to their base. They maybe claim Roche, but I don't know. Aegis is really good against Double Doom. Like, Aegis is pretty crucial there, but even with Aegis, I think Empire is just too strong at this point. No hard carry, but Double Doom means you have no carries. Yeah. Because they're all doomed.
It's true. So there is still ranged racks standing here in the bottom lane, but they got the important racks, the melee. And Sigma will be able to grab this 4th Roche, so they're going to get another Cheese and the Aegis. Step in the right direction. They did also get at least one of the gems back, the one that Vanscore was carrying. Resolution did survive, so they are going to have, well, the gem actually going to go down in the Roche pit to pick up the Cheese. But they do have one of the gems back at least. Maybe they can grab a little bit of map control.
Look at that gold graph, by the way. This has been quite a steep ascent for Empire. Their first lead of the game... Well, okay, they led for like the first 3 minutes, but since then, their first lead of the game didn't come for another 40 minutes, and now Storm's diving for the courier. He's going to snipe it. What was it carrying?
Probably the
nothing,
gem.
Actually. It was trying to pick up the gem,
Yeah, gem's still in the pit, so there is actually just a gem hanging out right here.
By the way, there's an E-Blade on Ancient Apparition. Pretty legit.
Uh-oh.
Amplify that A ult damage, amplify a lot of nuke damage for Empire, and also good. This is where E-Blade is really good. You look at Sigma, mostly a right-click damage team. It's even good against Enchantress Impetus. Sigma lacks late-game nuke damage. They have, like, okay nuke damage, but, you know, they don't have Doom. They don't have Veno, H-Apparition, so this Gyro could be rendered extremely ineffective by the E-Blade, as well as the Slark and Mirana to a lesser extent.
Looks like Sigma want to try and do something aggressive here, recognizing they're on the back foot. They have the Aegis and Cheese. If there's any time that they can try and make a play happen, I think this is it. They are going to push mid, perhaps. Nope, just going to rotate through. There is a tier 2 tower still standing in the mid lane that Sigma may be interested in trying to knock down, so that if they can get to the base, at least they can finish off that mid lane of racks. Looks like
there's still 2 buybacks with Empire. Pretty hard. And Sigma have Aegis Cheese, so I guess you call it even in terms of the number of lives if Sigma forces the fight.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough. This looks like Empire's game. They may lose, but they have the better pick-off potential. They're up in terms of racks. They have the buyback advantage, and they're going in mid right now.
Yeah.
They have no Hex for Resolution. There's nothing they can do when the Storm jumps in.
Yeah, Fada in trouble. He will survive as it was just Resolution, but still look how quickly he was able to take down that Mirana. And in a team fight, that certainly would have translated to a kill. At this point, Empire just have better itemization, I think. Doom is so tanky now he's been able to right-click a heart following that last fight. 3.7k HP, level 25 with 36 armor. He is one tanky mother.
Dude, he's unkillable. And on top of that, imagine if he has buyback, which he's a little bit short of now, but they go in mid again.
Slark in big trouble. The AA ult connects. They force the BKB out onto Slark. So already a victory.
They caught the clock, though, and Doom's not here, and Ancient Apparition's not here.
Uh-oh, that is dead Clockwork, and there's a homing missile chasing Resolution. He does enough mana that he should be able to invulnerable. What's the right word for when he zips around and it breaks the homing missile? That's not disjointing. That's just
dodging, storming,
storming,
zipping. There's no clock for this fight, by the way. This could be the opening for Sigma. They pop Moonlight Shadow. Are they going to try and go back in? Maybe they rotate bottom, but it's too late to get silent. They need a good arrow here. That's really their only, not reliable initiation, but their only strong initiation at this point.
Yep.
And bottom lane's pushing in, so they don't have a ton of time here, unless they want to potentially lose their range barracks.
Clock does not have a buyback, so they did have a window of opportunity there.
But the 2 racks very strong late game, or 2 lanes of racks, I should say.
Yeah. So Fado will port back, and he's going to try and defend the ranged racks. It's not going to regenerate, and actually those 2 siege creeps doing a fair bit of damage to the ranged racks, just continuing to tick it down. And it really is taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah, generally it's a very minor thing, but generally you want to focus the catapults first late game, especially on the range barracks, because
they just did a good 300 damage to that ranged barracks. So
yeah, and it has no HP regen.
Right.
So that damage is staying there, but it's a range racks. It's not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, very true. So, in terms of buyback, cooldown rotation, looks like everyone's coming up in the next minute or so. Sigma will have all of their buybacks available, so things are going to reset a little bit here. They still have both the cheese as well as the Aegis, and it looks like Gyrocopter will start to transition into that butterfly that you were talking about. He does have the Eagle Song and actually almost enough gold to right-click it, but of course does want to save for buyback if possible.
Yeah, Resolution with the Bloodstone late game Storm is really good as well. That's like having a buyback if he gets a few charges.
Yeah.
But even just the base Bloodstone will make a big difference. They could jump in mid. They have the double Doom. It's going to be very difficult for Sigma to take this fight, but at least it happens in their own base. They have 2 buybacks, Slark and Mirana right now. And here comes the fight.
And Doom going to pop the BKB to start things off. First Doom going to come out on the Gyrocopter, as it well should. Mad taking a lot of damage as well. Everybody going to pop their BKBs at this point. That's a dead Gyrocopter. Refresher's been popped, still saving the second Doom probably for the Gyro. Going to be a 1-for-1 as Vanscore does do an instant buyback. Silent actually going to get dropped. Not going to be able to use the second Doom. Looks like Sigma might be able to make a good hold right here. Does Doom have a buyback? Yes, he does.
There was a buyback from Venom. He tried to Boots of Travel in, but the creep died. Well, actually, no, I think he canceled his TP, but wisely so. His team could not fight. That was crucial from Sigma there. Managed to... It was actually the Visage who hexed Doom when he respawned. Or not when he respawned, once the BKB wore off. And they focused him down before he was able to use the second Doom. He could have... There was like a split second at the end where he could have used it, but at that point, didn't get it off. Right. Sigma, overall, though, they had to buy back on Slark. And there was a buyback on Veno. They also lost their Aegis. So next fight, if Empire don't have to deal with Aegis, that will be a much more difficult fight.
And Slark burned the cheese and then a buyback. So Slark had really
so they lost Aegis, cheese, and a buyback on a core.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
Exactly right.
And
now
this might be game.
Paris in big trouble as Resolution hops in. He's going to pop the BKB. That is a dead Gyrocopter.
No buyback.
No buyback available. He right-clicked the butterfly. That's not going to help you from the grave, buddy.
Yeah, that's pretty much game. I think they could just go down mid.
Yeah.
Doom could buy back. Maybe they wait for the Doom to respawn. They'll have 60 seconds before Gyro can respawn, and by that point, should be mega creeps. What they could try and do is go for a base trade, or at least really force the fight bottom, but we don't see any Boots of Travel in. Maybe they pick somebody off. They just saw the Ancient Apparition TP out, so they know it's a 4v4 here, albeit with no Gyro.
Slark going to initiate onto Mag. He will force out the BKB. Moonlight Shadow going to be used straight away as well. Hopefully, maybe Slark can make the great escape. Vanscore going to be the target that they go for. Cogs come out, but Slark just going to pounce right over him. They're going to try and finish off Mag, but Resolution doing so much damage. He's going to drop Fada like he's hot, even through the BKB. Silence going to be here as well. There's the Doom on Slark. Resolution just laying into him. And I think Sigma in big, big trouble, LD.
No buyback on Slark. No buyback on Gyro. Dead for 30 seconds. Mirana does have buyback, but doesn't do much. He's got Yasha BKB, so it hardly even matters. I think they can just throne it.
Yeah.
If they want to play it safe, Mega Creeps is the way to go, and that may be the better way to play this. And they are going top. Oh boy. Good luck defending. Doom's got another Doom if he wants to refresh, and that's another instant kill.
Yeah, Doom is just out of control at this point. And Resolution as well. He is hitting like a truck, cruising down the freeway with the brake lines cut. LT.
Oh, the A-ult's coming in. They have a Doom. They can maybe get 2 kills, and there was a buyback from Clockwork.
Oh, no. Visage going to fall. Enchantress going to go down as well as he gets crit. There's the buyback coming out from the Mirana as well as the Enchantress. Fada going to stand his ground with a BKB, but it doesn't matter. They don't have the damage. This Tier 3 tower in the top is going to be destined to fall as Resolution just right-clicks it down.
They still didn't get Mega Creeps, though. Sigma are hanging on, but they're really hurting for gold at this point.
Yeah.
Resolution is up to 13 Bloodstone charges, so that is a good... What is that, like 40-something seconds off of his respawn time, I believe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, 4 seconds per charge. So it's 40. It's like 50 seconds less respawn. And he's got 6.5k gold, so he's got 3 lives in the next fight, basically.
Yeah. Look at that net worth chart. I mean, things have just totally turned on their head.
Remember when this Storm was feeding early game? He's 17, 6, and 12 now.
He's out of
and he's got
control.
buyback.
And Doom's net worth is just taken over, leading by about 10k now. No glyph available for Sigma, so they could just focus down the racks here. They're going to go for heroes. They'll pick off the Enchantress in a matter of seconds.
Thrown it. Silence says thrown it, but the team says let's kill familiars.
So they will finish off that last tier 4 tower. Throne now exposed, the top lane of racks. Still standing. There's also still a ranged rack.
I love how some of them are trying to mega creep and some of them are trying to throw. Make up your minds, damn it.
Fada going to be in trouble. He's going to get hexed. Down he goes. Gyrocopter with the BKB on, going to try and make the one last stand, but Silent going to be in the front lines. And
Storm bot back.
Right-click him down. Storm going to be back in the battle. Sachka, one more auto attack ought to do it. He is just tickling Silent at this point, and he will fall. Vanscore maybe going to take a spill before the game ends, but as will the Visage. And that should be the GG. Slark, the lone defender alongside the Familiar, is going to BKB to make it back to the well. And maybe not. Will commit suicide as he falls.
Seppuku.
Yeah.
Oh, the shame. Sigma, they were leading by a lot. They had a really commanding early game lead with 5 strong late game heroes, but in the ultra late game, Storm and Doom with Refresher are like 2 of the kings. Tinker up there as one of the like deceptively, outrageously good late game carries, but woo, that was quite a game. What a way to start off ESPrime Cup, huh?
59 minutes of gameplay. Sigma, they had a good laning phase. They had that early momentum, but they just couldn't seal the deal. Refresher Doom, it works.
It's too hard to play against late game. Sigma shouldn't have let it get to that point.
Yeah.
The first Aegis, if you remember, we were talking about, it's like, oh, they should be able to take at least 1 tier 2. They didn't take a tier 2 with that Aegis. They just farmed. They overextended bottom.
Yep.
Fata's Mirana got picked off. And there was just generally heroes kind of dying off on their own. Their lineup was, I wouldn't say strongest around like 25 to 30 minutes, but that's where they had the biggest advantage relative to what Empire had.
Right.
Didn't capitalize on it. And then it's not that Sigma played. There were some questionable item decisions. I'm not really a big fan of the Scotty on the gyro. I would have liked to see a Hex on somebody earlier. Maybe the Slark going Abyssal Blade. He ended up going just Vlad's. He's kind of poor. Vlad, Scotty, Shadowblade. But they needed more lockdown for Storm if they wanted to go late. And they needed more of like a true hard carry gyro as well, and they didn't have it.
Yeah, an earlier Sheepstick probably would have helped, and I think a Pipe would have gone a long way. It might
if
not
they
have
wanted
been...
to like end the game around 30 minutes, Pipe would have been really good against A and Veno.
Yeah,
I agree.
It makes pushing so much easier. It goes on the creeps as well.
But in the end, they lose.
So, not to worry, guys. Sigma not eliminated. Again, this is a double elimination tournament. They will get knocked down to the losers bracket. They'll have to play another best of 1 in the last match today. A fight for survival, but they still have another chance to bring it back.
Yeah, either Liquid or Fnatic. That best of 1 is coming up next.
And you guys are watching the ESP Shock Therapy Cup, and there is a ticket available. It is $8, comes with wards and a HUD, and there are a lot of languages covering this tournament. All 6 broadcaster slots are full, so this is a personally funded tournament. If you guys want to support it, it may be a ticket worth picking up. It is listed under Heroes, not tournament tickets. There was a little bit of a mishap getting it in the store, but it is there nonetheless.
Yeah, and if you want to check out ESPrime, learn more about them, it's es-prime.com.
Absolutely right. So next game, best of 1, Liquid versus Fnatic. We'll be right back.